Hey, how is it going, everybody? How's it going? Shout out to you for being here. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Wednesday afternoon, evening for some of you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, Demetrius. Thank you so much for modding. I've been short mods, so thank you for that. Shout out to you, Carl, for presenting. Rashad Lewis in the comments. I know this is last minute. But I'm sure by now you guys have heard about the Brittney Renner situation, or if you've not heard about it, then I will bring you guys up to speed. I did actually have a live scheduled where we're going to look at the connection between misandry and lesbianism, whether or not that exists. We're still going to talk about it. I rescheduled it because I kind of saw this news story break the internet and I knew it was just a thing. So we are going to be talking about that. Stay tuned. Hit the notification bell if you have not already. Again, we're going to be looking at anger towards men and misandry and whether or not there is a pipeline between that and lesbianism. So that's going to be my next live coming up soon. Shout out to you, Undisclosed, with the 5 on the super chat. Thank you so much. I love how they're mad at the host for no chaperone to mistell all book how to finesse athletes from her choices to twerk and be violent. There is so much to unpack here. I'm assuming you've already heard about the situation, but there's a lot to unpack here. But just to get started, also real quick, I wanted to shout out Maurice. Maurice, thank you so much. I saw that you sent through a Cash App a couple of days ago. I've been meaning to post about that, but thank you so much for your generous support. I know you consistently support my show, so thank you. Also, guys, as always on the way here, be sure to like, share, subscribe on the way. Hey, Maurice, I don't know if you're the one that I just acknowledged, but thank you for the Cash App if that's you. Like, share, subscribe on the way here. And as always, I'll be sure to acknowledge and read our super chats. But anyway, so on to this idea of female privilege. Now, this is probably something that you haven't heard about and that you likely won't hear about anytime soon because we are still in the era of feminism where women are still fighting for their rights in the West. But the reason I wanted to unpack this a bit is because we talked about this idea of male privilege, specifically Black male privilege, a couple of weeks back, where I basically looked at a theory that was birthed out of some universities that has really been embraced by different feminists today, who use this idea of male privilege, specifically Black male privilege, as a way to talk about the different ways men experience privilege and basically have different access to things and basically have an easier life than women do. And so we looked at that a couple of weeks ago. If you guys haven't heard about it, if you guys want to review it, be sure to do so. I break it down in my live. But some of the key ways that they looked at Black male privilege is they looked at, incarceration rates, they looked at homelessness, they looked at, murder for deletion, for lack of a better term. They looked at dating. They looked at all these different ways that Black men are supposedly privileged. And really my takeaway from it was that Black men are supposedly privileged because they get more attention when it comes to the different areas where they're failing. But nevertheless, to me, I thought the theory was bananas. But my point is this idea of male privilege and Black male privilege is a very popular idea that is still going on today. In the era of what the issue of boys and men, this is something that now is being studied at the university level. And you have men of different races who are looking at how men are doing in society, in the Western society, and seeing that there are clearly some struggles. But even with that era, there's still this idea of male privilege. And then in the Black community, Black male privilege that is being promoted and that is being again, used by feminists to talk about how they need to continue to fight for rights and equality, or in some cases, supremacy. So that's the backdrop of this conversation. And yes, it is always Remaine's fault. But with that said, if you guys have not had the chance to check out the Brittney Renner situation, no problem. We're going to unpack it today. I don't talk about her a ton. I know she's constantly trending. I feel like she's been in and out of the tabloids the last couple of years. But this situation in particular, I thought was worth highlighting because I felt like we saw in plain sight, in 4K, whatever, basically how women today do definitely have privileges as far as how they are treated, how they are perceived, and in the way sometimes they remain unchecked. And I think that is oftentimes unaddressed, and that is oftentimes overlooked, almost to the point to where now you have certain behaviors that are being coddled or that are actually being encouraged, because we're not talking about the different ways where women can do things and can quite frankly be disrespectful or out of order, and it not be seen as that a privilege and not be checked. And so I thought this situation was a prime example of how female privilege, when unchecked, can create all kind of chaos and havoc and destroy not only the person who's doing it, but the people that they are around. So that's what we're going to unpack today. Again, thank you guys who are here. Be sure to like on the way here. And there's a lot to cover off here. I think there was like an entire interview that covered Brittney Renner, I think Charleston Write, and a couple of other people. So I'm not going to look at the whole interview because that's just really long, but I'm going to look at a couple of key points that I think really encapsulate or really show what this idea of female privilege looks like in full form, especially when it is unchecked. And then also, guys, real quick, be mindful. There is some I don't want to say, how do I say it? The language is a little bit grotesque, right? She gets pretty blatant in there. So if you guys are sensitive to cursing or things like that, then you might want to just hop on out. Or if there are sensitive ears, then you may want to just have them leave the room. But some of the different content I am going to show does have a lot of cursing and does have some more adult themed content. So just be aware of that. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is bring up this situation where Brittney Renner was asked a question in regards to her baby daddy, PJ Washington. We're going to look at her response, and then we will go from there. Parental, yes, that part. Okay, let's bring this up. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Okay, and then also I'm going to leave you guys real quick because sometimes the audio is a continual work in progress. So y'all let me know if the audio seems a little off. Just let me know while I'm trying to share this with y'all. Okay, let me pull this up real quick and then we will get right into it. So this one I'm showing is the situation where basically where they asked a question in regards to what she felt about her baby daddy's, I guess, more recent contract being renewed. I think it's almost a $50 million contract. So I'm going to play it for y'all and then we will break it down because I think there's a lot to unpack in this just 8-minute video clip. So we'll go from there. And then y'all, again, let me know in the comment section if you guys have a hard time hearing what is being played, okay?
PJ just got an amazing contract. How does that make you feel as a woman knowing that's your baby father? What is your first view on that?
Honestly, I want my child's father to win.
Exactly.
It's just what it is. And regardless of what people say, I believe he deserves whatever he feels he's worthy of. So, whatever that contract looks like, that's what it looks like. And I didn't have a child. You know, I had a second degree tear. You know what that looks like?
I'm gonna say,
Hello?
say no. I'm gonna say no for all of us.
Is everybody fucking
I'm just gonna
listening?
say no.
Hello?
Yeah, you're
a second degree tear.
Okay, so y'all, okay, it looks like you guys can hear me. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you guys could hear me. So okay, I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit. I just wanted to do a quick audio check. So I'm gonna go back just a little bit and then let's see what we wanted this so that we can review it. Okay. Oops. Okay.
Honestly, I want my child's father to win.
Exactly.
It's just what it is. And regardless of what people say, I believe he deserves whatever he feels he's worthy of.
Side note, I have no idea what the makeup brush is about. I don't know if that's a prop, but I don't know. It's just funny that she has this random makeup brush there in the interview. I thought that was kind of random, but let's continue.
So, whatever that contract looks like, that's what it looks like. and I didn't have a child. You know, I had a second degree tear. You know what that looks like?
I'm gonna say
No.
just
Hello?
say no. I'm gonna say no for all of us.
Is everybody fucking
I'm just gonna
listening?
say no.
Wow, wow. Again, within the first couple of seconds. So you can learn a lot about an individual just by how they respond and the things that they show about themselves. I am a firm believer of not necessarily listening to what somebody says, but see how they conduct themselves, listen to what they do. First of all, this is just me and my humble opinion, right? My personal boundary is that I'm not going to go in a room with mixed company and start talking about private parts. I'm not going to go in mixed company and start talking about the birthing process. I think that is totally and completely inappropriate. Because there's really no reason to do that. I think that can be definitely TMI and just quite frankly uncouth. Me personally, I'm like just listening to the whole thing. I'm like, if I could blush, I mean I'm black, so it's kind of hard to blush. But if I could blush, I'd be red, right? Because I'm like this. The conversation to me is like, wow, why are you really going that detailed in a room of grown men who you're not in relationship with, you're not married, nothing like that. Like they don't need to have the intimate details about your birthing process. That's a very sacred moment. And so I would think that you would want to save that for yourself, maybe ideally for your husband, although she doesn't have one. But those aren't necessarily details that you want to be just plastered all around social media. So already the conversation to me is incredibly uncomfortable. So with that backdrop, she, there's already TMI, and then she starts yelling at these grown men as if they're kids. Notice the disrespect. And we're not even a minute into the video, and we're already seeing the blatant level of disrespect, not only towards herself, but towards the men. And again, just a lot to unpack there. Shout out to you. Says she's high. She's clearly under the influence. She is clearly under the influence. Another side note, I wish there was like a disclaimer or some form of requirement where women weren't going online drunk. I have seen countless women go online drunk and make a fool of themselves, or high, or under the influence of some sort. And I'm like, if you're going to be doing an interview, ideally you're not going to be on anything. You're not going to be drunk, or you're not going to be on some form of substance that would alter your state of mind. Because I've witnessed this, even just from the last month or so. I've seen women who otherwise could be considered respectable, but they were clearly tipsy or something, and they made absolute fools of themselves, and it's just a bad look. So I'm like, don't go on camera if you know if you're loopy. You know what I mean? I think that's just step one. But let's continue.
No.
Hello?
Yeah,
A second degree tear. You know what that looks like?
I mean, that boy was that big when you had him.
He was, I think it was 8.1.5.
That means she had a
Big
big
boy.
baby.
Almost 9 pounds, right?
Another NBA player.
Does that matter to you? Does that matter to you?
No, that doesn't matter. No, those grown men in there who aren't married to you, they're not family members, they're not related. It does not matter. Your birthing experience does not matter to random men. That's why I'm like, I don't fully understand the purpose of that point. But again, just in my opinion, those are intimate details that should remain intimate. The world doesn't really want to know what happened to your private parts in the birthing process. We know that it's difficult. We know that it is very painful, and let's just leave it at that. Like, let there be some mystery. So I don't fully understand her purpose for, again, sharing those details with a group of grown men. I'm still trying to understand what that's about. Y'all let me know in the comment section if you guys think that is she trying to gain sympathy? I'm not sure yet. Maybe if she continues to talk, we're going to get more understanding.
Who had such a motherfucking opinion around me?
Wait,
Does
time
that
out.
matter?
It's group.
Hold
My
on.
opinion changed. But
Hold
yeah,
on. Answer the motherfucking question.
no, it didn't initially. No, hell no.
Okay, I had a second degree tear. That means they sewed me up.
Yeah, okay.
Right. You know what that means? That means I love that motherfucker. My pussy was fucking split open for him.
Right.
You understand that? He was 9 pounds.
Another thing, just total side note. and maybe this is maybe where I'll be considered prude, but when I hear a woman talking like sailors or like firefighters or just talking in ways that generally like just really harsh, to me it just seems so uncouth. I don't know how else to say it. It just seems really unladylike to see a woman who was just so harsh and based with her words. And that's just, you know, me. Maybe that's just a whole personal thing. But I always cringe when I see a woman who has like a potty mouth, who just has like a very, very grotesque, just dark language. I always find it really hard to listen to, especially when it comes from a woman, especially a woman as beautiful as her. So again, TMI, we're like what the first minute, and my thought is TMI. No, these grown men don't care about the fact that you had a very hard birthing experience. They don't really care about that. Nobody cares about that really, other probably than you and maybe your son or the people who are intimately close to that. But no, they don't care. So you yelling at them is not going to make them care even more. And then secondly, now you just kind of look a little ridiculous, unfortunately. Let's continue.
Okay.
Gratefully, I had a 5-pound baby.
Good for you.
Yes,
My
yes.
baby was almost 9 pounds.
Big boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. All right.
No, I wanted to say that because I think it is important. A lot of people do
What's important?
that. You do wish well for them.
Most.
Okay, you got it. Bria Spears says she's trying to prove that what she went through was rare, but in fact, it happens every day. That part. Women have been giving birth since the beginning of time. So, like, since the beginning of human history. So this is not to downplay the sacrifice that is given, right? That there's obviously a sacrifice required. Thank God for our mothers. Thank God for the women who birth us. But if the point was to try to put her on a pedestal for doing something that's quite common, I don't know that is going to happen. So that's actually a really good point, Bree. I think you're probably onto something there. Definitely based upon the way she was describing herself and then yelling at them, like trying to get attention. It's like you already have it. You're on an interview. Cameras are on you. You already have their attention. There's no need to yell at people. There is absolutely no need to yell. Let's continue.
Here's the thing. Let me just tell you and every one of the motherfuckers that are commenting, she's doing too much. She at the end of the day, this pussy had a 2nd-degree tear. Do you know what that means?
You just taught us.
Ripped.
What is it?
Ripped.
Thank you, Charleston.
Again, y'all hear that language? That language? And let me say this. Women have the right to talk and behave themselves whichever way they want. That is their prerogative. But also, people have the right to make conclusions about you based upon the way that you behave yourselves. If you're a woman and you go around giving intimate details of your life, giving intimate details of your private parts, if you're a woman and you go around with a potty mouth and you're cussing every 15 seconds or every other word, people are going to make conclusions about you that are not going to be positive. They are going to make negative conclusions about who you are. They're likely going to treat you like a 304. And so again, women have the right to act and to behave in whichever way they want. This is a free society and a free country. However, people will make conclusions based upon how you act and how you treat yourself. She, within the first minute or two, she's probably cussed more than she's actually said, just standard words. She's talked about her private parts the entirety of this conversation, when the conversation had nothing to do with her private parts. It just had to do with her reaction to her baby daddy's contract. And now she's making it about her vagina. So I'm like, this is a conversation, and this is the kind of behavior that's going to have people judge you and say that you're a 304. And so it's important for women to understand that in this era where they are supposedly fighting for freedom and want the freedom and the liberties to do whatever they want, still freedom and liberty comes at a cost. How you behave and how you present yourself is going to determine how people see you. So just put that in the back of your head. The way she's presenting herself, the way she has already, things that she has said, the things that she's alluded to, her behavior, her yelling and screaming, people are now making judgments about her based upon that. And it's not positive. Okay, let's continue.
Ripped open.
Ripped.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, boy had a head like his daddy.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Boy had a head like his daddy.
Ma'am, chips ahoy.
All right.
Hold on.
So, a ripped fucking vagina. Let me hold on.
Say it again.
Let's
Say it
fucking-
again. For the people in the back.
Let me tell you something.
Y'all remember this the original question. The original question is, what is your response to your baby daddy basically getting almost a $50 million contract? That was the original question. How this now devolved to her vagina and what happened during birth, to me, makes no sense. I think Bria, she alluded to it, that it probably has to do with her maybe trying to gain sympathy for something that's quite common, the fact that she had a hard childbirth. But childbirth is hard, period. So something that's quite common, nobody's giving you an award for. Maybe except your child, right? Or except what could or should be your husband. But outside of that, nobody's giving you an award or praising you or glorifying you for doing something that's happened since the beginning of time. Yes, birthing is hard, but it just comes to the territory. So it's like, again, we're creating this entire situation over a scenario that is quite common. And the birthing has nothing to do with the original question. And so that's, to me, what's so wild about this entire thing. And what not only it also shows to me, again, this level of disrespect for herself and then therefore for others. She's acting a fool already within the first 2 minutes of the video. Acting a total and complete fool. Let's continue.
50 pounds. Do you hear what I'm saying?
That boy on 50 pounds?
No, you gained.
I gained 50 pounds.
Oh, shit.
Charleston, 50 pounds. That's just somebody, I'm just whatever. It's about money. Let me tell you something. I can't be bought.
Hello.
That's what all these people in the chat can't seem to understand. They think I can be bought. They think that it's just about money. It's just whatever. It's the highest bidder. I believe in true love.
Okay, so now we're getting down to it. The reason she went on that whole tangent about her vagina being ripped and all the details that we did not really need to know about regarding her birthing process is because she was trying to prove, I guess, that it was not about the money because she had a baby. Now, again, the problem with that is having a baby is a natural byproduct of sex. So there are women out there who have been impregnated by men that they don't love, one night stands, for whatever the reason. They got knocked up, whatever. But there are women who have gotten impregnated by men that they don't love, and they had that baby for whatever reason. Maybe they just didn't believe in abortion. Maybe they wanted a child support check. Maybe they wanted a kid of their own. So just because a woman births a kid does not necessarily mean that there is a sense of undying love there. So, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, that argument is a little false, or it falls a little bit flat. But at least now we're seeing, okay, the reason she came to that whole story about her private parts being ripped open was because she supposedly loved her boyfriend. Okay, I mean, whatever. I'm not here to argue with that. Only her and her ex-boyfriend ultimately know. But what we do know is that she's no longer with him, and her baby daddy has almost a $15 million contract that she's likely not going to have any access to outside of perhaps anything she may be able to get from child support. Let's continue.
Hello.
I heard her say that. But you
I
know,
said it
we be
100 fucking times.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
Hello.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is not how adults act. This is not how adults. Do you see the way she is Do you see the way that she is yelling at those grown men? Oh my God. That is not how an adult, that is how a child with a tantrum acts. God forbid I talk to my mommy and my mom and my dad like that when I was a kid. I would not be here. Like that kind of behavior I expect from a toddler who is learning and growing, and they have parents who put them in place and say, honey, you don't yell when you don't get your way. Honey, you don't yell when people don't hear you. This is how you conduct yourself. So I am appalled that a grown woman would think that it's okay to yell at other grown men, other adults, when they're having clearly just a calm and collected conversation. Like, it's horrible. This is horrible. Wow, I think she's definitely under the influence. But I think what we're clearly seeing is that she's clearly triggered. That question clearly triggered her, because the question was rather like nobody in there has been antagonistic to her. Nobody has been disrespectful. Nobody has raised their voice or made pot shots. They asked her a simple question. She's clearly triggered from that question. For whatever reason, we don't know why. Some of y'all are saying that she's broke. I don't know her financial situation. What we do know is that she is clearly triggered by the situation, and this is probably why she is acting a fool within now the first 3 minutes of the interview. Okay, let us continue. Well, and another thing I want to add. Notice her really aggressive behavior around these men. Now, I want you guys to imagine a scenario where a grown man could be in a room filled with women and be yelling at them, raising his voice, cutting them off. I want you to imagine a situation where that could happen and that be considered okay. Just if y'all can think of one, let me know in the comments. But think of a situation where a grown man could be in a room surrounded by other women on camera for everybody else to see, to watch. And he is yelling at them and cutting them off and cussing at them and cussing them out. Tell me a situation where that would be okay. Because as far as I'm concerned, that would be considered, emotional abuse. That'd be considered verbal abuse. That dude would be canceled. He would be canceled. So going back to my point of privilege, female privilege, already within the first 2-3 situations, we've seen that she is, for whatever reason, making a complete and total fool of herself. But not only she made a fool of herself, she's made a fool of people around her. She's being disrespectful to people around her. And she's partially able to get away with it because she is a woman. Because God forbid, if she was in a scenario where she was being this belligerent and this disrespectful, and if a man was being this belligerent and this disrespectful, it's quite possible that he'd be canceled or he might face some other legal repercussions, be it emotional abuse, verbal abuse. But this level of violence that she's already displaying would not be acceptable if it was coming from a man. So you want to talk about privilege? Here we are starting to see how women get more passes and how a woman's violence or a woman's aggression or a woman's belligerent behavior is codified or pacified, when a man in the same situation would not be given an ounce of grace. Let's continue.
Listen.
Listen to what I'm fucking saying. Shut the fuck up when a real bitch is talking.
Okay.
Shut up.
Okay. Get
Shut
the
the
room.
fuck up.
Take the room.
Shut up.
Say this too. There's so much to unpack here. When somebody respects you, when there's a level of respect, right? When there's a level of respect, you don't need to yell across the room. You don't need to try to convince somebody. You carry that presence, carry that aura about you. You guys have been in the presence of somebody, I'm sure, who you respect or you honor or you like or you admire. When you're in the presence of somebody that you admire, they don't need to tell you to respect them. Their presence itself commands respect. So the fact that she's yelling at them and she's beating her chest, for lack of a better term, trying to get them to respect her, we already know what's going on. She clearly sees that she's disrespecting herself, therefore they're not respecting her, and she's spiraling, she's triggered. But unfortunately, as I said before, the problem is if women go and disrespect themselves in public, if they go and disrespect themselves in front of other people, they cannot be surprised if others return the favor, if others start to go and engage in that disrespect. And that's exactly what's happening. She sat there and disrespected herself, and now she's mad because they don't take her seriously. But that's the result of her actions. And so again, if people respect you, if a person really has respect for you, you don't have to go convincing them. You don't have to try to yell at them or tell them. Your presence itself is going to command a certain kind of behavior. Let's continue.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm a real fucking bitch. You hear what I'm saying?
Talk.
And I care. And I'm a hopeful romantic. But I can't control. At the end of the day, I try to force something that wasn't mine. That wasn't my person. And that's okay. He's sitting over there motherfucking. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, shit.
Shut up.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is assault. She literally just threw something at another person. That is assault, people. That is a clear sign of assault. She literally, she just, I mean, we're not seeing it on camera, but she clearly threw something at another individual. And if it hit him, whether it hit him or didn't hit him, that was clearly an attempt at some form of, again, violence. Please tell me a world in which a man in America can be on camera surrounded by women, yell at them, cuss at them, make all kinds of grotesque remarks about his private part, and then proceed to throw an item at another woman. Tell me a world in which that exists and that is going to be okay. Tell me a world that exists where a man can be that vocally, emotionally, and physically aggressive towards other women and that be okay. We already know that's not happening. We already know there is no scenario where a man is that aggressive, where a man is that physically aggressive and belligerent, and it doesn't exist. So when we want to talk about what I said, male privilege versus female privilege, here is a prime example of what female privilege looks like. You can be in a room of other grown men who physically have the strength to check you with probably just one action. Like if they really wanted, if it really came down to blow, they could physically check her quite easy because all of them in there are some pretty big men. So she's in a room of other grown men who have the physical strength to put her in check, right? But she's over there being belligerent, she's being aggressive, she's being violent, she's making threats with her words, and then now with her actions, nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything because she's a woman. And listen, to me, this kind of behavior is wrong either way, whether it's coming from a man or woman. I think this kind of behavior is just off the walls. But my point is, she can get away with this kind of behavior to a certain extent because she is a woman. And that is just one small example of how in the society there are certainly situations where women, whether it be they have privileges or they have more leeway, especially when we start talking about intimate partner violence. I have mentioned this plenty of times before. When you look at DV, intimate partner violence, and when you actually look at the numbers, it shows how women of all races, Black women, white women, Latina women, I think even Asian women, how they initiate violence towards their men. In all cases, they initiate violence towards their men more than women do. How a lot of times intimate partner violence is bidirectional, meaning it is men and women who are aggressive towards each other. Usually at the hands of the woman first. This being a prime example. She literally just threw a bottle. She just threw an item at someone off camera, but she's initiating violence. Also, as a woman, why are you going to initiate violence towards somebody who is likely stronger than you? Just bad idea. But anyways, make a long story short, here's a clear example of privilege for everybody to see full camera, full view. We're clearly seeing what privilege looks like. Let's continue. Also, guys, if you're here, like, share, subscribe on the way. Be sure to show support to the Cash App or Venmo Shay Sade. If you like what's going on here, as always, I'll be sure to acknowledge our super chats. Let us continue.
Shut the fuck up when I'm talking.
That's peripheral.
Shut up.
That's peripheral.
Seriously, shut the fuck up when I'm talking. Because if you ever felt real love to where you have a motherfucking second-degree tear, hello?
Wait.
He didn't mean it.
Hello?
He didn't mean it.
Shit.
Hello? You don't know what it's fucking like.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry.
You literally said she threw an item at Shannon Briggs, a heavyweight boxer. This little petite thing over here is poking a bear. Poking a bear. Initiating aggression towards a heavyweight boxer? Are you kidding me? This is freaking ridiculous. Clearly, this woman is I want to say she's under the influence because I want to believe that no woman sober-minded would act this ridiculous. So I want to believe that she's under the influence. That doesn't make any of this behavior acceptable because it's just strictly not. But I'm hoping that for her sake, that she was under something to be acting this egregious. How are you picking a fight with a boxer? He said, I'm scared of Shannon. Yeah, grown men aren't picking fights with heavyweight boxers. So why is the small, petite woman picking a fight with a professional fighter? Why is she doing that? Again, remember what I talked about female privilege? How whether it's conscious or subconscious or whatever, how they think that they can be able to be as all aggressive, all belligerent, and nobody can check them. They have the right to do it. They can yell. They can have the full range of emotion, anger, frustration, violence. They can have the full range of emotion and nobody should check them. We clearly see this being modeled right here in this situation. Again, here's a prime example of female privilege. These men are keeping they're keeping composure. They're staying cool. Notice nobody's raised a hand. Nobody's done anything. They've not even said anything aggressive. They've all been calm, cool, and collected. She is the one acting not only belligerent, she has done multiple violent things. Now, within 3 minutes of the interview. And she's done that because she knows or she believes intrinsically that she can do this stuff and not be checked. And that, my friends, is a prime example of what female privilege looks like. You being able to do these different things, poke a bear, be aggressive, be violent, yell all kinds of assaults, even threaten assault on camera for everybody to see, literally throw things at other people on camera for everybody to see, and have no fear of repercussion. That is an example of female privilege. That is an example. So guys, if you're on here, hit that like button, like, share, subscribe. Be sure to hit the super chat, Cash App, Venmo if you like what's going on here. I'm going to go on a quick break and then we will be back. Show some love, y'all. I see. Imagine what she does off camera. I don't even want to know, because if a person feels that comfortable being that aggressive on camera, oh, God forbid what they would do when people aren't watching them. That's a really scary thought. You said, okay, so you said the dude that she threw the item at is 6'4", 260 pounds. Most men are not initiating violence with a professional fighter, let alone one that is 6'4" and 260 pounds, larger than average, and height and weight and all of that. Most men are doing that. So what in her psychology, what in her brain made her think that it was okay for her to act aggressively, first of all, towards somebody who didn't do anything? Nobody in there, from what we can see, said anything aggressive. They didn't say anything disrespectful. They didn't call her out her name. They didn't say anything. They said nothing. They've all been calm, cool, and collected. So what in her brain gave her the right to feel comfortable initiating violence towards a professional boxer who was likely twice her size? Again, it goes back to what I said. There are women out there, a lot of women know, they believe they can act this way and they feel comfortable doing so because they're not used to being checked. And because in many ways in society, these kinds of things can happen and then we look the other way. She won't be canceled. People will talk about this. There'll be lives, there'll be different videos, there'll be different, people are going to give their 2 cents, but she ain't going to be canceled. It's not like she's going to be getting a lawsuit. Although we clearly see online that she has made multiple attempts at violence. Is she getting a lawsuit over this? No. Is a man in the same situation, if the roles are reversed, getting a lawsuit? Absolutely. And he's getting canceled. And he's losing his job. And he's losing whatever sponsorships he had. All of that and more. So, when I mentioned female privilege, that is a clear example of what it looks like. Okay. Let's continue.
I meant to hit this nigga.
Wrong guy.
Let me tell you
Wrong guy,
something.
champ. Wrong guy,
Shut the
champ.
fuck up. This right here is about to go. Let me tell you something.
We good.
Shut up when I'm fucking talking. Yo, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I meant to hit that nigga. Because you sitting over here laughing.
She's mad that she's being laughed at. Remember what I said? Y'all remember what I said? A woman has the right to act whichever way she wants. But people are going to judge you based upon the way you behave. You literally went online. You spent the first couple of minutes talking about your private parts and how they were ripped and teared and broken up and had to be put back together again. You spent all this time going into intimate detail about your private parts when the question actually had to do with a basketball contract. Like it had nothing to do with your private areas. But you spend all this time talking about it. Then you stop yelling on the top of your lungs like you're a toddler. And then you're upset when people don't take you seriously. And this is where I think the lovely ladies, we get to understand that however we treat ourselves, however we treat ourselves in front of other people, how we present ourselves, it's all right. But people also have the right to now make assessments about who you are based upon your behavior. People are looking at how you present yourself and they are making judgments. They are coming to conclusions. So if you act like a fool and then they perceive you as a fool, you cannot be mad. This is when a video I did a couple of months ago and I said, when you are a hoe, when you act like a hoe, you can't be mad when people treat you like one. Like that whole situation with Sukiyana was supposedly her heartbroken because there's a situation where they said that she wasn't supposed to be kissed, but she was kissed, and she said she was heartbroken. I thought that whole thing was made up, y'all, personally. But I'm like, this woman then made an entire career perceiving herself as a sexual object. Her entire career and all her brand is about sex. And then she gets in an interview, and people treat her like she's a sex object. Well, duh. Like, if you treat yourself and act like a hoe, and you say you're a hoe, you can't be surprised when people treat you like one. These are the laws of reaping and sowing, people. These are the laws of reaping and sowing. And unfortunately, what I don't like about this culture and what I think is going on, we see, here's a prime example of a beautiful young woman, physically beautiful, and she had access to all kinds of men, to presumably the high value men that most women wish that they could be around, most women wish they could have access to. But because she was not taught and trained clearly her intrinsic value, because she wasn't taught about other more important things like character, godliness, spirituality, who she is. Like, she clearly, there was not an emphasis on character. She gets around these men and she treats herself like an object, going from body to body to body to body. And we know that persona is glorified in culture. We know we're consistently seeing women, especially Black women or women of color, being promoted for basically being whores and prostitutes. That image is being promoted, but there's a downside to that image. Yes, it may get you attention. Yes, it may get you a windfall of money initially. Yes, it may even give you access to high-value men, to men with resources. But now your reputation, but now the long-term effects, but now your psychology, your mentality, your integrity, your sense of value, all of those things you are sacrificing when you go that road. And this lovely lady is a prime example of a woman, a beautiful woman, who bought into the lie that being a hoe and being a 3 or 4 and sleeping around is the best way to go. And now, unfortunately, she's starting to reap the consequences of that lie, because that is a destructive lie. For beautiful women to use their bodies to get access to all kind of different men just for the resources or whatever it may be, even if it was supposed to be for true love, as she's saying. Nevertheless, if you're sleeping around with a whole bunch of different men, you're constantly treating yourself like a sexual object. You're not dealing with your internal qualities. You're not dealing with your identity. You're not dealing with actually being a good, grounded, spiritual person. The results of that are going to be bad. And we clearly see, just in a moment, in my opinion, what happens when a woman goes down that road. And let me add this. Now, this is unpopular, but I personally believe anytime there's a woman that has multiple sexual partners, I mean, high levels of sexual partners, I think it does something to her psychology. Not just, emotionally, but spiritually. I think it completely messes up her psychology. There are some theories out there, I think they call them microchimerisms or whatever. I talked about this in previous lives. But there's some theories out there that suggest that anytime a woman has sex with a man, his genetic material remains in her body forever. Those are some scientific theories. Now, I don't know if that's been completely and totally verified, but just think about that. Just imagine a world in which a woman having sex with a man means that there's an aspect of his genetic material that always remains in her in some way, shape, or form. Now, let's say that same woman had sexual intercourse with 100 men. And so now she has the genetic material of 100 men in her body. You don't think that's going to mess up her hormones? They're not going to mess up her psychology, her spirituality, all of that. You know what I mean? So just from a physical standpoint, I believe it's just not helpful. And we're not even talking about the emotional ramifications and the spiritual ramifications for a woman putting herself in an intimate position with men who don't even value her. And so I think what we're also seeing is a result of a woman who, in not valuing herself and not knowing her true spiritual value, treated herself like a trash can. And now she's mentally and spiritually wilding out, literally. Her mentality, insane. All kinds of messed up, because women were not created to be like that. We were not. That is not how God created us to be. And as I mentioned before, we were created for an intended purpose. And unfortunately, when we operate outside of that intended purpose, we malfunction. And here's a prime example of a lovely, beautiful woman who is malfunctioning because she bought into the lie. Again, guys, if you're here, like, share, subscribe, show some love on Cash App or Venmo Shay Sade. Also show some love on the super chat if you like what we're doing here, if you like my content, if it resonates with you, if you think it's positive, be sure to support your favorite content creators. Okay, so let's continue. I think we have a little bit more to go.
Chill. Relax.
I ain't chilling.
Relax.
Because at the end of the day, it ain't your pussy. Hey, listen, I hear you.
That ain't cool, lady. For real, I'm not part of this.
Hey, listen, that's fine. But guess what? You protecting him is what it is. Is it not? Is it not? Is it not?
See, it's the wrong nigga.
Hey,
Shout.
don't be sitting over there laughing. Let me tell you, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to him right here.
Okay, lovely people. Real quick, I have 134 on here, and I only have 100 likes. So give me y'all 20, if I can get at least 20 more likes, y'all. So I'm gonna go on a quick break. Y'all get those likes up. Also, be sure to show some love. All of that. Show love, Cash App, Venmo, Super Chat. But y'all get them likes up. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all be nice to me here. Okay, let's continue. So I think she was acting a little cray, but I'll go back here real quickly. Okay.
I hear you.
No, that ain't cool, lady. For real, I'm not part of this.
Hey, listen, that's fine. But guess what? You protecting him is what it is. Is it not? Is it not? Is it not?
She hit the wrong nigga.
Hey, don't be sitting over there laughing. Let me tell you, I ain't talking to you. I ain't talking to him right here. I ain't talking about. Then bat me in my shit. Then
Chap, she cool.
bat me in my shit.
Apologies, Chap.
Bat me in my shit.
I don't hit women, yo.
That all right? Then shut the
Shannon
fuck
Briggs
up.
right here.
Y'all hear what he said? I don't know if you heard that part. He says, I don't hit women. Probably because he knows if he did, then he may end up behind closed in jail, because one hit from him with a little petite thing like her, they're out. But notice that he says, I don't hit women. And so I don't know if she knew that already, but could it be that she's picking a fight with a person that she doesn't think is going to instigate back? And that's what I think happens. I think sometimes there are these lovely ladies out here who, look, they know the code. They know men out there, especially Black men or minority men. They already know that there are perceptions around them of already being perceived as violence, already being perceived as aggressive. And there's a lot of dudes at the end of the day who they just don't want to get caught up. Like, they'd rather play it extra safe. They'd rather avoid situations versus face a false accusation and then have to go through, God forbid, a Jonathan Major situation or something like that. So women, we already know this. We already know that the table is stacked up against men when it comes to these kind of situations of DB, especially when you're talking about Black men. And so in those situations, sometimes women use that to their advantage. If they know that a man is already set to not want to have any kind of aggression towards a woman because of the law or not wanting to be canceled or whatever, of fear of false accusations, they'll start to instigate. They'll start to be disrespectful. They'll start to yell, be belligerent, whatever, because they feel and they believe that that person is going to retaliate. And then not only that, again, we have a system that usually coddles women being aggressive. We have a system that does not look unfavorably on a woman who is aggressive, because usually when a woman is aggressive, you'll think, oh, is she protecting herself? What does she have to do? What did he do? Right? So there's all this reason as to why a woman can be aggressive. And there's all this language about, well, maybe she was provoked or maybe she felt unsafe or whatever. But a man in any situation, there's no time in which him being aggressive, especially towards a woman, is acceptable. And so again, that inequality is what can create these kinds of situations. A woman who can get up there and be disrespectful and yell and do all kind of different stuff, literally be verbally abusive, literally throw stuff, all of that. And then she's doing that because she doesn't fear repercussions, because she's not used to being checked. As I mentioned again, this is a prime example to me of female privilege. Prime example, because there's no situation that existed in which a man could sit up there and yell and cuss at a whole panel of women, throw items at another woman, throw items for the entire world to see, and he wouldn't be canceled. And he wouldn't maybe even have charges pressed against it like that. There's no situation where a man could do that and it'd be okay. None. But because she's a woman, she feels comfortable doing it. And because those men understand the politics of these situations, because I understand the societal norms of the situation, all of them are remaining cool because none of them want to get caught up. So again, that's the situation of privilege. Thank you, Malarkey, for showing some love on the. It said, please, what's going on here? Show some love, monetary love to your favorite content creator. She's putting in the work. Let's put our hands in our pockets. Do you work for free? Come on. Thank you, Malarkey. I appreciate you. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard Malarkey. Like, share, subscribe. And yes, the best way, because you know what's funny? I get stuff every day. I love you, Shay. I love you, Shay. Well, the best way to show that you love is to show some support, because this is a community supported, brand funded, operated channel. So if I don't get support from y'all, I ain't getting nothing. If you guys aren't contributing to this, if you're not a part of making sure that this message grows and gets out here, then I'm not getting paid. So one of the best ways to ensure that the content that you like is being supported and the message is getting out there is by investing in it and investing in those content creators who you value. So again, thank you, Malarkey, for being a consistent contributor. And please be sure to do the same if this content resonates with you. Okay, we are almost done with this one. Let's see.
We're tripping out. We're good.
At the end of the day, all right, I don't give a fuck you talking about lady. I don't care. At the end of the day, nobody knows what I went through. Nobody knows what I'm going through. So nobody, you, him, whoever the fuck, you don't get to sit here and talk about shit. Ain't nobody drunk bitch talking about nothing.
We family.
What's up?
Here. We family here.
What's up?
We family here.
What's up?
Champ. No,
I ain't talking about nothing.
We all right, champ.
We ain't talking about nothing.
We family.
This is Charleston's people, not mine.
She all right,
It's
champ.
Charleston's
She all right,
people.
champ.
No, we family.
He said you all right.
Ain't no fucking security, bitch.
I don't give a fuck what you talking about.
Champ.
Back me in my shit then.
It's all good.
Back me in my shit then.
Come on.
Then shut the fuck up.
Chill.
Yeah, but
Let's
hit your
relax.
motherfucker.
So they're just going back and forth. Again, another personal philosophy that I have, extremely disrespectful and just unnecessary to get in a shouting match with a grown man. I think that's just bad form as a woman. To get in a literal shouting match back and forth with another man. I just think that's really unladylike, unfeminine, and it's just not necessary. And also it's dangerous. Like I said, luckily they're on camera, and maybe that's why she feels the boldness to do it. But I think this is a general best practice. Why are you getting in a shouting match with another man? And my other question is, okay, so is that how you deal with conflict management? Is that how you deal with conflict resolution? Because if so, that's not good. That is incredibly unhealthy. That's very childish, and that is not a good way to. That's not a good way to just maintain relationships long term. So much there. Like I said, first of all, a man and a woman, grown man and a woman getting in a shouting match like they're equals, just to me leaves a nasty taste in my mouth. I think it's just uncouth. But secondly, I think it's really dangerous, especially if that man is larger or has the physical capacity to do something. Why are you going to poke a bear? And then just in general, like, this is not how you resolve a conflict. Just because you disagree with somebody, you can respectfully agree to disagree, but you don't need to start yelling back and forth, tearing them down, insulting them. That is completely unnecessary. No situation needs to ever devolve to that point. Y'all, this could have been shut down minutes ago. This could have been shut down. But for some reason, there's this constant need to instigate. And that is really immature and very dangerous. And that is not how to maintain a healthy relationship with anybody long term. If you feel you have the right to be disrespectful, if you feel you have the right to tear somebody down, to cuss them out just because you don't agree on a position, that again, you can't keep a healthy relationship long term that way. That's toxic. Okay, let's continue.
Buzz, bitch.
All right, let's reset the room. Let's reset the room.
It is what it
guys.
is.
Let's reset the room.
It
guys.
is what it is.
Everybody cool, guys. Everybody cool.
It is what it is.
Family here, guys.
Shut
All right.
the fuck up.
Family here, guys.
All right,
You
no-
don't, you don't like Brittney Renner. Brittney Renner, we fuck with her. Shut
Who's
the
got music
fuck up.
playing? All right. Let's relax. Let's reset the room for a second.
Nah, don't reset shit.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, what did I just see? What did I just see? Some of y'all saying, I want to believe for her sake that she's under the influence of something. Because I really want to believe that nobody in the right mind who's completely sober would act the way that she's acting on camera. So for her sake, I want to believe she's under some form of influence. With that said, however, that doesn't make the behavior okay. Secondly, if you know you act like this when you're drunk, don't go live when you're drunk. Don't interview when you are under the influence of anything. If you know that you act like this, don't do that. Don't do it. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not safe. Bad idea. You said alcohol, bipolar disorder. Oh my god. I'm like, oh my god. So, oh my god. Like, what did I just witness? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to that. Sorry, I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm kind of shook right now. I mean, she's a beautiful woman physically. Clearly, there are some strong mental, spiritual, emotional issues. Clearly, that goes without saying. So back to her original point where she was like, PJ Washington, he wasn't my person. I'm a hopeless romantic, whatever. She literally says that, and then 2 seconds later proceeds to throw a bottle at somebody. So I'm like, even if that's true that PJ Washington wasn't your person, I doubt your person or your soulmate wants to have a bottle thrown at them or know that their partner, about the lover, has the potential of being violent. Like, no well-meaning man wants to sign up to be with a woman who is violent and off the chart and unable to control herself. So this kind of behavior alone, it's like you completely branded yourself at this point. Nobody's taking you seriously. And I think she knows that intrinsically, which is why she's unraveling, because it's like the more she talks, the more people don't take her seriously. The more people don't take her seriously, the more frustrated she gets, and therefore the more that she reacts. And then it's just like this downward spiral. But that's what I mentioned before, ladies, especially when you disrespect yourself in public in front of other people, you cannot be surprised when others turn around and do the same towards you, because you teach people how to treat you. So if you act like a hoe, or if you act degenerate, or if you act fill in the blank, other people are going to now come along and treat you that way, because you've already shown how you value yourself. And this is literally what's going on in this interview. And she's literally acting like a kid. It's sad. I'm like, this is the kind of behavior I would expect from a young child who's throwing a tantrum, who has not been checked, who don't have a dad or a mama, black mama or black auntie to put them in check. That's the kind. Now, I know some of y'all said she had a white woman. I don't know. I know she's mixed, but I don't know who did what. But I'm like, clearly it don't sound like she had anybody in the past who checked her and said, honey, that's not okay. Clearly. Because these are the kinds of tantrums that I expect, again, from a kid. And a part of being an adult is letting that child know, you don't act like that. Just because you're upset, just because this don't mean that you cuss me out as your parent, don't mean you say that you hate me as your parent. We're not equal. You know what I mean? And you teach them boundaries, and you teach them authority, and you teach them respect, and you teach them how to operate in society so that when they become adults, they know how to handle conflict in a respectable manner that's going to diffuse the situation and not make it worse. It does not seem like that happens. Okay, let's continue, y'all. I think we are almost done here.
The fuck we on?
We on the motherfucking
Charleston,
Dancer Project, baby.
motherfucking Capricorn in the motherfucking
In
building.
the builds.
Hey, let me tell you something. I don't care what you talking about, cause I really bad nigga in here shit. No, this is my touch up brush.
You good?
Listen, let me tell you something. Don't nobody get tell me shit about shit.
All
At the
right.
end.
Real quick, okay, so I just saw 3 cash apps come through. I'm sorry, I'm just now saying this. Shout out to you, Amara Bay, with the 10. I appreciate you with the 10. Thank you, the professional 238 with the 5. I appreciate you. And thank you, Keith Middleton with the 25. It says, thanks for addressing this subject. Absolutely, anytime. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for showing me support on the Cash App. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys. As always, like, share, subscribe. If you, I'll be sure to acknowledge all super chats, and I'll be sure to acknowledge Cash App and Venmo. Thank you guys for making this stream possible and making what I do possible. I appreciate every single contribution, no matter how big or small. It does make a difference. So I just want to acknowledge that. Okay, let's continue.
Close that.
Charleston,
Yes, ma'am.
this
Yes, ma'am.
the motherfucking real nigga right
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
Right.
And if I didn't understand him,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
Wait, what? Wait, what'd she just say? Wait. What? I gotta go back. Okay, I gotta go back. I'm sorry. Something didn't sound right.
hey, let me tell you something. I don't care what you talking about, cause I really bad nigga in here shit. No, this is my touch up brush.
You good?
Listen, let me tell you something. Don't nobody get tell me shit about shit.
All
At the
right.
end of the
Jill,
day,
close that.
Charleston,
She said, can't nobody, I mean, I don't want to say the exact words, but basically nobody can tell me anything about anything. Nobody can tell me nothing. Again, that is not a good, healthy quality to have if you desire to be in a long-term intimate relationship with another human being, especially a man with integrity, especially a man with integrity and value. That is not, I repeat, not the kind of attitude you want to have. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Horrible, horrible attitude to have. Disrespectful, not only to yourself, to that person. If you can't learn from somebody else, if you can't ever be corrected, if you can have somebody say, hey, the way you acted was a little out of pocket, can you change? Look, I've had my husband come to me and say stuff and be like, hey, what you did right there was not cool. And here's why. And I had to be like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I did not even know that. Everybody has moments in their life when they need somebody that they can trust that says, what you're doing is not right. You can do better. Change. I'm trying to encourage you to change. I'm trying to show you why this behavior is hindering you. Everybody has those moments, and everybody needs people in their life who can say that. So that mentality, can't nobody tell me nothing, is the quickest way to be a fool and the easiest way to destroy your life, because nobody knows everything and we don't know what we don't know. And what's supposed to happen, right, in a healthy community and healthy scenarios is you have elders, you have people who have gone before you who can help kind of guide you in different areas of life, who can kind of help let you know, hey, this behavior, avoid that. I did that when I was young and it cost me this. Don't do that. Don't go there. Not that they're trying to control you, but so that they can spare you the guilt and the shame or any of the problems that they made. We all need that. We all need, whether it be elders, people that we trust. Sometimes we need people that can speak into our life and can show us our blind spots. Nobody is an island unto themselves. Nobody has all the answers. She ain't God. So that idea, can't nobody tell me nothing, is the quickest way to destroy your life. The quickest way. And clearly we see the results of that when a person starts to digress. Let's continue.
Yes, ma'am.
this
Yes, ma'am.
the motherfucking real nigga right
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
Right.
And if I didn't understand him,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
understand me, we wouldn't understand each other.
Down that hand.
So what's up?
I'm just happy.
Yeah, I got good.
This woman is nuts. I'm sorry. She is nuts. That's what I said when I said before, right? In my opinion, but when you start to have all these bodies in and out of you, it makes you literally crazy. It makes you literally crazy. She just called him the. Why are you calling him? Why are you calling that black man the N-word, like with a hard R? Why are you doing that? Black people don't talk to other black people like that. So who are you listening to that's saying that kind of different stuff? Black folks, even when they joke, even when they call it N-word, they're not doing it with the hard R. I don't even know what that's about. What we do know is that this woman is spiraling fast. And it's sad to see. It is sad to see, but to me, this is a prime example of what happens when ladies, beautiful women, buy into the lie and they start disrespecting themselves and engaging in bad behavior, whether it be for likes, attention, view, access to particular men, social status, attention, right? Because I think attention is its own currency. But we clearly see what happens when women go down that route and they haven't spent time dealing with themselves. They haven't spent time focusing on their relationship with God, their spirituality, their internal qualities, their emotional health. They haven't spent time going through the character building process. We clearly see what the result of that is. And it is not something pretty. We're almost done here, guys. But that was weird. I don't, like I said, black people don't do that. Black people don't go around and call themselves N-word with RR. Nobody does that.
Good grip.
Yeah, I see. Shit, you strong. Yeah, shit. I can tell you play sports.
Ma'am.
Yeah, I can tell you play sports.
Ma'am.
Yeah, I did.
I can tell.
Yeah, I did.
Shit.
Ma'am.
You gotta.
Ew.
Hey,
Now
what's up?
Now she's flirting with him?
What we
Shout
doing,
out to everybody
Charleston?
I'm reading
Shout out
all that
everybody.
shit on there.
Oh,
Shit, I done got
I don't
into
give
the
a fuck.
comments. Just
He's
shit, I
giving
done
these
got
men
into
a satisfaction. Shut up, bitch. While real bitch is talking.
So she's referring to herself as a, and then she's this is completely this whole thing is chaotic. It's like we're almost done. I'm just gonna finish the chaos and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, so let's reset. Get back to what we were talking
What
about.
are we talking about?
We're
Peace, love, health, and wealth.
a grade 2 tear, Charles,
love, health,
PJ, and everything that occurred, and you know that you do wish well for him of what everything that went.
I
on.
always do, because you know what? I had a baby for him.
So that was absolutely horrible to watch. That was horrible to watch in the most disgusting way. Horrible. I don't even know. She started by giving way too much information about her private parts that nobody really asked about. She's disrespecting herself online. Therefore, the men clearly aren't taking her seriously. Then when she senses that these men aren't taking her seriously, she gets more frustrated and starts to yell and cry and assault them with her words and then even with items. Then she transitions into, I don't even know, like she was flirting with Charleston Write towards the end. This woman she's clearly unwell. And I'm like, I want to believe for her sake that she's just on a substance and that is influencing her, not that it makes it right, because it doesn't. It doesn't make this right, period. But I want to believe that she wouldn't act this way sober-minded. But either way, what we saw there was, in my opinion, a result, the results of a woman who bought into the lie, had all these bodies going in and out of her at a particular time, celebrated it because it gave her the attention, it gave her constant attention, it gave her maybe some validation, maybe some money, access to different guys. But this is a result of that kind of lifestyle. Women weren't meant to act like that. Women were not meant to have all these bodies go in and out of her. And they weren't meant to simply body themselves based upon their bodies. Yes, beauty is important. I mean, you literally see what she values. The whole time that she's cussing them out and calling them all kinds of words, but she's there with her little makeup brush because she wants to look perfect. Meanwhile, she wants to look perfect, but she's like disrespecting herself the entire time. It don't matter how beautiful you look or how much your face is beat. If you're cussing folks out, throwing items, calling them all kinds of names, you're flirting with them in one moment, but then you're yelling at them at the moment. It don't matter how you look. People are looking at you like you're crazy because you're acting like you are crazy. And so when women don't value themselves this way, and they go through the ringer and they kind of get the quick fame or the quick money or the quick whatever, the quick relationships, the Hollywood relationships. I think she's been on Basketball Housewives, although she was never a wife. But anyways, when they get that and they're done and they've had their run and people are done with them or the media's done with them or whatever, they're left with themselves and a broken life. And they're left with a broken spirit. And we're starting to see the results of what this does to a woman's psychology when she buys into that lifestyle, and how she disrespects herself and therefore other people disrespect her because she's not she hasn't shown to be respectable, and she knows that. Intrinsically she knows that, which is why she was spiraling. She was reacting because she could tell in the room that nobody respected her. She can tell in the room people were making fun of her, they were mocking her, and that enraged her even more. And then it became a vicious spiral. Okay, shout out to you. It says Charleston Write himself uses the N-word all the time. It's self-defeating to use it in any context. Okay, I'm not familiar with Charleston Write as much, although I think I saw a quick. Wait, isn't he a comedian? I'm so late. But isn't he a comedian, or did I make that up? But I'm saying I didn't know that he, like, his face looks familiar, but I don't think I'm connecting him with any particular content. Y'all let me know in the comment section if I'm like slow or late when it comes to this. But yeah, I don't know any context where a person using the N-word, period, especially a Black person using the N-word, is with a hard R especially, is respectful. Like I don't understand that. Okay, I think I got like one more, like it's like a, let me see, 60-second clip. And then we can wrap this up. But thank you for the 5. I think I also saw another Cash App come through real quick. I want to acknowledge. Thank you so much, Michael Walker with the 10. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Now, so that was a mess. That was hard to watch. If y'all had enough, I'm not mad at it, because I know at a certain point, it's like I can't see any more foolishness in the day. I'm done, and I completely get that. But if some of y'all are still ready for a little bit more foolishness, bear with me. But we're going somewhere. The point isn't just to look at debauchery, but the point, I think, is to come to the bigger point, or come to the bigger message. At this point, we've seen her disrespect herself and therefore disrespect men. We've seen her pick fights with grown men, professional fighters, heavyweight boxers. We've seen her volunteer too much information. We have seen her yell at other grown men who, with one swoop, could completely knock her out. We've seen her act in every single way possible, disrespect herself. That's what we've seen up to this point. Now, this other clip, I think, really takes the cake in just the downright craziness. So, okay, I'll play it and then we'll go from here. If I can even play some of it.
Wet.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never been wet before, but yeah, I'm sure it's uncomfortable to be wet.
You know, moist is one thing, but wet is just another.
No.
It ain't what we shooting for. You know what I mean?
You ain't get what?
Isn't that?
Miss ma'am.
No.
No,
Miss
come on,
Ma'am.
please. Come on, man, please.
No.
Come on, man, please.
So already, I mean, this is a short clip, but already, to me, I'm like, again, going back to context. As a woman, as a married woman, or even if I wasn't married, even if I was single and I was looking for a man, there's certain conversations that don't need to be had, especially if you are wanting to be taken seriously and if you're wanting to be respected. In my opinion, you sitting there and talking about how you respond in sex, again, completely inappropriate, especially with a married man. Why are you sitting there having this conversation with a married man when you're trying to wasn't you just a couple of months ago talking about how she had, she's changed and she's trying to live celibate or whatever? If that is true and you're not wanting to value yourself, you're not then going to get in a room full of men and talk about how your body responds to sex, or you're not even going to engage in that situation. And I think the reason that they even brought that up is because these men already know, they're clearly seeing this is the caliber of woman that I'm dealing with. this is the caliber I'm women that I'm dealing with. I mean, imagine, do y'all think that if they were sitting down with, I don't know, Michelle Obama, for lack of a better term, could y'all imagine sitting down there with Michelle Obama and asking that question? Could y'all imagine, just for example's sake, I'm not saying you have to agree with her politics or not, but I'm just saying, just for example, could y'all imagine those men sitting down there with Michelle Obama asking questions about how she responds in sex? Or just alluding to that? I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think that would ever happen. Because they would already know this is not that kind of woman, or these are not the kinds of conversations. Her mindset isn't there. So they're not even going to be bridging that gap. And then God forbid that conversation did come up, then I'm sure she would navigate it and she's not going to be playing into it. But already the fact that they feel comfortable, in my opinion, going down a road, to me, that is just TMI. Again, these men are showing you how they feel about you. These people are showing you how they feel about you. And why are they doing this? Because just a couple of minutes earlier, she spent this whole, 3 or 4 minute diatribe talking about how her private parts were in birth, going in great detail about what happened, going in great detail, yelling at these men, telling them, do you know what this is like? Asking them obvious questions, trying to get them to visualize what her vagina was doing. She was the one that did that. She did that. And so now a couple of minutes later, now they're engaging in that highly inappropriate sexual conversation. It's like, again, now these men are showing what they think about you. And that's what I said before. When a woman treats herself like a 3 or 4, when she treats herself like a hoe, she cannot be surprised when others engage in that activity. She can't be surprised when others come along and treat her the same way, because we have the responsibility of showing other people how they can treat us. We teach other people the boundaries that they need to have. And because she's already disrespected herself and those men, they're now coming along and being like, you know what time it is? We see what this kind of woman she is. And it's just spiraling out of control. Okay, so this is Dr. Shay. We appreciate your non-clinical analysis on the inner chaos of the wretched patient, Miss Brittney. Thank you, Barry Hamilton, with the $4.99, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. Okay, we are almost done. I think this clip is really short.
I need you to be kind and respectful to my guest.
I think back over here. What does she do? Okay, I'm gonna now she's getting on top. Okay, I'm gonna move past this because I think y'all can clearly see. Oh, wait, no, you guys can see this. Actually, sorry. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Oh.
Okay.
It ain't what we shooting for. You know what I mean?
You mean what?
Isn't that?
Miss Ma'am.
No.
No,
Miss
come on,
Ma'am.
please. Come on, man, please.
No.
Come on,
I
man,
need you
please.
to you to be kind and respectful to my guest.
That man is married. What are you doing? Okay, so because I don't want to get nothing removed.
What that pin poker is?
Yeah, she's getting on him. Okay, I think if I fast forward a little bit.
Man.
Sorry, y'all.
Go ahead.
Kind of move. Okay, I think y'all kind of clearly see what's going on. She starts getting on top of this married man, and she starts twerking. I don't want to show the whole thing because that's just not necessary. But let me see. Then she throws water.
Wait a minute.
Then she throws water.
I did nothing for that.
Then she throws water.
Wait a minute. Miss Renner. Miss Renner. Miss Renner.
All right, chill. There's a lot of equipment in here. Why'd you get water poured on you?
We
What
sauced
happened?
up.
What I missed?
For behaving. That's for to be
Okay, then she goes on to twerk. I mean, I think we've kind of seen enough. They end up shutting down the interview because they're like, really, what just happened? So we see they start engaging in this really uncomfortable. They start engaging in this sexual conversation. She proceeds to start twerking on a married man. I didn't want to show that whole part, but she gets on top of him and then it starts to twerk. And then they obviously had to shut it down after she decides to just throw water on everybody and pretty much assault them. Completely inappropriate. Just downright inappropriate. And so going back to what I said earlier about female privilege, this woman yelled at these men, called them out their names. She spent a lot of time talking about her private parts. She made physical threats at men twice her size, at professional boxers. She throws items and then she proceeds to basically assault these guys on camera. I mean, not necessarily physically, not, but putting water on them again. That can be shown as some form of aggression. However you want to look into that. So she acts in every single way possible to disrespect herself and these men. And mind you, these guys, for the most part, have been pretty chill, especially the ones on camera. They've stayed calm, cool, and collected. They were trying to defuse the situation when she was yelling with the guy in the back. They were calling her ma'am. Like, they were really going out of the way to still try to maintain respect, and keep the conversation going without too much chaos. But she just couldn't contain herself. She just couldn't keep from being crazy. She was clearly triggered and spiraling the entire time, going from yelling and calling them out of their name and demanding that they listen to her, and to flirting and then twerking at them, but then yelling items and being mad. Like, she's like, we're seeing all these different personalities just within these few couple of minutes. It's like this woman clearly is insane in this moment. And like I said, she under the influence perhaps? Did she have some form of a mental disorder perhaps? Clearly there's some spiritual brokenness going on here. And this is really sad to see a woman who over the last couple of years has been in the spotlight, in the limelight, for better for worse, trying to build her brand, and wanting to try to make the best of her success and fame. And we clearly see her spiraling in front of the world, from her own doing. Not like people are pulling stuff out of the dark. She is going on camera and disrespecting herself, and then therefore disrespecting others. And it's really sad to see. So yes, that was Charleston Write. On top of that, why are you going and working? First of all, why are you engaging why are you engaging in any form of sexual banter with a married man? That's completely inappropriate, in my opinion, especially as a woman. If you want to be respectable, you don't need to be engaging or bantering or flirting. Dude's married. Stop. Right? Secondly, why are you now going the next level and working on him, attempting to twerk on him, showing your parents, like doing the most sexual things, when just a few months ago you were talking about how you're going to be respecting your body, and now you want to be celibate, and you're on lockdown. Like, what? And then you're going into all this great detail about your vagina and how the things that happen to it, and giving all this picture as details that nobody asked for, when the question had just everything to do with the boyfriend's contract and what you thought about it. Like, that didn't. So again, this is a woman who is reacting emotionally, spiritually broken, psychologically broken. There could be mental illness. She could be under the influence. Clearly spiritual brokenness, all of the above. But she, I think, is a prime example, the example of female privilege. Because again, there's no situation where a man could act that crazy and belligerent on camera for everybody to see and make those aggressive remarks and aggressive actions and continue to be online. That wouldn't happen. Secondly, to me, this is just another example of what happens when women feed into the lie. The lifestyle that she chose and the journey that she chose is one that is continuing to be shoved down women's throat. Every 15 seconds, I'm seeing a Black woman, mostly a Black woman, go viral, be promoted for doing the most heinous, disgusting, disrespectful things. usually through rappers or through artists or aspiring artists, sometimes through IG models, but I see it constantly trending. Now, what's the news? What, Sexy Red? If it's not Sexy Red, it's Suki. If it's not Suki, it's Meg Thee Stallion. If it's not them, it's Glorilla. It's something like somebody is always constantly trending for attention, right? They're constantly putting these personalities or bringing up these personalities in attention, promoting a really disgusting, destructive image for women, period, and especially for Black women and women of color. So this is the image, and this is the journey that's being promoted, that's being pushed time and time and time again. Couple that with, feminism, and we don't need these men, and we don't need to respect these men, we don't need to honor these men. And so you have these women going out there disrespecting themselves, and then because they have this kind of feminist mindset where they think they don't need to value men in any capacity, they then go around and disrespect men and call them out their names and put themselves in all kinds of disrespectful and dangerous situations, and it's just a downward spiral. It is a downward spiral, and she is a prime example of a woman who was sold a lie and is now reaping the benefits of that lie. Because the lie is, if you go, you sleep around, you get the attention, you get the money, you get the family, you get the God, life's going to be good, you're going to be happy or whatever. And we clearly see, even when she had the fame and when she had all the views, and she was constantly in the media, and then she even had PJ Washington, who she was dating, and clearly when she had all these things that most women aspire for, that high value guy, that high value desirable guy, it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough, because it's never enough. When you're going for fame, and when you're going for money, and when you are thirsty for attention, and when you're thirsty for this lifestyle, when you need to be the spotlight, it is never enough. Never. Because that empty, gaping hole will always look for something else to fill it. And this is why I've said plenty of times, a lot of these women are reacting because they're empty inside. And the only thing that can change somebody, especially somebody that crazy, is the Most High, is the power of God. Somebody that level of craziness, it requires divine intervention, period. It's like, at this point, it's like, you've disrespected yourself. The world has seen you disrespect yourself. Nobody takes you seriously. You clearly don't take yourself seriously. And you kind of put yourself in a hole. And it's all because you bought into a lie that was never going to make you happy. And now you're being dishonored, and you're dishonoring yourself. It's a downward spiral. And so really, I think, if nothing else, I hope women, especially young women coming of age, see. They see that what's being promoted and what you're seeing, what is oftentimes celebrated and what oftentimes gets the most views, that lifestyle leads to destruction. It leads to destruction. Just point blank. And even if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look up these different popular artists or look at the lifestyles of these different celebrities that a lot of times are getting all the focus. And we clearly see that their life is in shambles. Clearly. And another thing, women do need attention. Whether or not they admit it, women need attention. And it's so crazy that there's so much emphasis on women not needing men and not doing that. Because in one instance, they say they don't need men. And then in another instance, they spend every 15 seconds online posting thirst traps or going on interviews with men or posting seductive photos or videos where they clearly would be upset if nobody was in the comments and if no man was in the comments saying anything. So we all know that women intrinsically need attention. And truthfully, I think that's how God made us. I do think God created us to kind of have that need for validation, but those needs are supposed to be met within the context of a healthy relationship with our Heavenly Father, within the context of a healthy relationship with family and community. Those needs are supposed to be met within certain parameters. But when there's chaos and there's disorder, and these women have no spiritual identity, they bought into the lie about who they are. They believe they're just sexual objects, or that their happiness is going to be found in status or money and fame or attention. When they buy into that lie, they still have those needs, but now it's being met in destructive ways. And that's what's happening here. And so I really think it's simple. Ladies, know the lifestyle that she took leads down that road. If you go after money, if you go after fame, if you even maybe get a couple of guys or famous guys to sleep with you or get their attention, or you maybe even end up being their girlfriend and having babies, you might get some immediate gratification, but it's not going to be long-term. And you're still going to be left with the same gaping spiritual hole. Because what you need first and foremost is to be reconciled with the Creator, the only one who can tell you actually really how to be a feminine woman. The Creator who made you is the only one who knows how you operate best. And when that foundation is set, when your spiritual foundation is set, then you have maybe what it takes to learn how to get along in the context of a healthy community and a healthy family and raise kids. But things have to be back in order. As I said before, God who created us for an intended purpose. And when we operate according to that purpose, things generally go better. Not saying that life is perfect. Life is never perfect. Everybody has their own issues. But when we operate according to our God-given purpose, then we experience the most fulfillment internally, and things generally go better, and we're more happy and joyous. But when we operate outside of our intended purpose, then we start to malfunction. And this is what we are seeing over and over and over and over and over again. And we're going to continue to see this because you continue to see this lie being promoted. You continue to see these women buying into the lie. And it's just a vicious cycle. And men can't do anything about this because men see this and they run the other way. Ladies, a lot of times you point yourself in the corner, and the only one who can save you out of this mess is God alone. Only one who can help Brittney Renner at this point is the Most High, is God alone, right? Clearly. So if nothing else, let this be an example of what not to do. My recommendation has been and always will be, ladies, you don't even need to go that way. You don't need to destroy your life and disrespect yourself and others and become a laughingstock before you figure out that you clearly don't know what you're doing. You can figure that out early on. You can say, okay, you know what? God, teach me how to be a feminine woman. Show me what that is like. Show me what that is like. Spend time really seeking that relationship with God. Invite God into your life. Invite the Spirit of truth into your life. You know what I mean? Develop that relationship with Christ. Understand that your internal qualities, your spirituality is foundational to true beauty and pretty. Beauty is not what she had. It's not just that beating the face. Beauty is not just wigs, weaves, and sandals and working out and having the biggest behind. Like, there's an aspect of that, but true beauty is internal. It's something that comes as a result of having a beautiful spirit, internal qualities. And that only comes from developing a relationship with the Most High and having that firm foundation in Christ. The only one who can save people who are broken like this. Nobody else can. Dr. Uma can't do it. Black men can't do it. Black men don't need to sacrifice them lives and try to save a hoe. That ain't their responsibility. That's something that only Christ can do. He already did that. So get men out of the equation. When women are this broken, they don't even need to be around men. They need to be around the Most High and some anointing oil. Like, cast out some spirits. Okay. So it's like, but it's establishing that firm foundation and having healthy community, learning what a true feminine woman is like, learning the value of men, learning the value of authority, learning the value of leadership. All those things are integral and necessary and valuable to a woman's development, to a woman's internal happiness, to a woman's evolvement. But you have to learn these things. Society is going to tell you you don't need men. Society is going to tell you you don't need leadership. Society is going to tell you you can do it all by yourself. And clearly we see what happens when women do things based upon what they think is right, and they do things based upon what seems popular, what is being promoted. It leads down to a road towards nowhere. So I think it's simple. It's like spiritual foundation. That's the foundation of beauty and happiness. Learning the importance of relationships, learning the importance of authority, learning the value of men. Men are so valuable to our life. So valuable, essential, necessary. There are men, spiritual leaders in my life today that help keep me and tell me the truth when I'm off. My husband being one of them. Different spiritual, I'm saying spiritual pastors, not pastors who are just trying to get a paycheck and sleep with women, but like spiritual leaders. They are essential. Learning how to respect men, learning how to respect yourself, learning that you can actually be respectable, like all these things. And truthfully, sometimes one of the best things ladies can do is get off of the internet and get off of, this need for attention, this constant need for attention. Because I think social media is a powerful tool and it can be used for good. But when you are broken And when you need the attention and you need the validation, sometimes you see women literally doing anything, and it gets to the point where they're just shock jocks and they're just saying anything, doing anything, and promoting anything just for attention. And that's a really sad place to be. So anyways, this was horrible to watch. That kind of behavior happens and can happen because women feel the comfort acting a fool, and they feel the comfort being clearly violent and aggressive online and don't fear repercussion. But at the end of the day, even if she was not checked online from those men, and even if she feels like she had the right to be disrespectful to all those dudes, she still has to go home with herself and live with her own reputation and her own actions in the bed that she's made. And that is sometimes the biggest form of justice. It's just the result of your own decisions, clearly. So anyways, guys, that is what I have. A lot to unpack there. Obviously, if you want to see the whole interview, I think it is at their website. I want to say it's called the Danza Project. They have the whole interview. I think they actually broke it up into different sections. Really sad and hard to watch, especially as someone so beautiful. Yeah, nothing spiritual and insightful. Yep. And it's so crazy too to see, here's another example of like, just because a woman is physically beautiful does not necessarily mean that men are going to be enthralled, because it's not just about the looks. It's obviously, well, what else are you bringing to the table? Looks is that's like just the first. But are there any other redeeming qualities? Do you even know how to be in a relationship or even have a decent conversation long term without yelling pejoratives or without cussing me out or without throwing things? Like, can you even act like an adult longer than 5 minutes? Like, if you can't even act like an adult, if you act like a spoiled child, literally, and you don't know how to compose yourself, it don't matter how good you look, and it don't matter how much you beat your face. The guys are over there. Like, bye. You know what I mean? Bye. It don't matter. So that was a mess. That was a literal mess. I don't know. Oh, I'm okay. I'm just looking at these comments. So anyways, guys, thank you guys for hanging out here. I'm curious what you guys have on the topic. If any of you guys want to talk, I have a few minutes. I have a couple of minutes if some of you guys want to call in and give your perspective. Let me see. Okay, so let me see where we're at. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. So if you guys want to call in and give your perspective, if I could get 5 more super chat or cash apps, I'll open up the call line. And if not, no problem. We will finish this. We will finish this later. So I'm going to go in a quick break. Again, 5 more cash apps or super chats if you guys want to call in. Otherwise, okay, we can wrap this up and we will do this later. So I'll go in a quick break and we'll go from there. Okay. Okay, guys, so it looks like we'll be wrapping this up. No problem. Thank you guys for hanging out, for tuning in. If you guys are catching the stream later on, no problem. You can go back and catch the replay. Also, stay tuned. I do have another live I'll be doing Actually, I had it originally scheduled for today, but then I decided to change it when I saw this topic because I was like, let me hop on this while it's buzzing the internet. But we're supposed to be talking about the connection between misandry or anger towards men and lesbianism. And so we're going to be exploring that a little bit and seeing whether or not there is a connection between anger towards men or misandry and a tendency towards lesbianism, or whether or not there is no connection. So stay tuned for that. That should be happening, if not later on this week, early next week. I have to check my schedule. But be sure to hit the notification bell so you're notified each time I go live. Be sure to hit the like button on the way out. As always, show support to the show if you like what we're about. If you like this content, share it with other ladies, especially young women who you think may find this kind of content interesting, because I do recognize that, especially as it relates to Black women, there's not a lot of content or messages out there telling them to not be whores. Unfortunately, most content out there is encouraging Black women to be whores, to act like fear of whores, and that's being celebrated. So if this kind of message resonates with you, and if you have young women or girls that you love and you want them to at least be introduced to other kinds of messages, be sure to share this video or other kinds of videos with them who will let them know that there is other way of living. They don't have to buy into the lie, and they don't have to be deceived that they are better than their bodies, and they don't have to act like prostitutes to get attention and to be valued. So anyways, I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you for hanging out. I appreciate you watching. Again, like on the way out, share, subscribe. Also, I've been continuing to forget, guys, if you like this content and if you want to see more content that is exclusive, you can join me on Patreon. I have some videos there that I can't necessarily put on YouTube because it might be banned, or just other content that I think is more better for that platform. So if you want to, be sure to join me on Patreon, where I have exclusive content there that you won't see anywhere else. Check me out there, and like, share, subscribe on the way out. And thank you for hanging out. And we'll talk later, okay? Bye.